U.S. Customs and Border Protection announced this week nearly 2.8 million migrants were arrested trying to cross the southern border in the fiscal year that just ended. That's about 1 million more than the previous record set just last year. With the surge putting a strain on border towns, some mayors and governors have been sending the migrants north. This week, New York City opened a massive shelter to accommodate them. So as politicians exchange criticism and stunts, what actually is being done to solve the problem? NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has our Sunday focus.
It's an unusual sight, so close to Manhattan. A tent camp now open, complete with cots, even video games for migrants trickling into New York City.
This is a national problem.
The nation's largest public school system now faces a $34 million shortfall with 5,500 extra students, administrators scrambling to find teachers and other essentials.
If a child is at a shelter, they are entitled to get busing.
But even though the political debate over the migrant influx has recently focused on the Northeast, the thousands bused to New York and Washington, D.C., the dozens flown to Martha's Vineyard by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, it is at the southern border where the numbers are undeniably record-breaking.
It is definitely a crisis. I don't know how you can look at the numbers and come to any other conclusion.
We recently visited Yuma, Arizona, a town that's very familiar with the fight over immigration.
This area alone is seeing hundreds of asylum seekers each night.
According to Customs and Border Protection, there were more than 2.7 million apprehensions across the entire southern border during the fiscal year that just ended. To put that in context, here's a look at that number in 2019 under the Trump administration and the year before. Here's a look in 2014 under the Obama administration, in 2006 under the Bush administration, in 1996, the Clinton administration, and in 1986, under Reagan, with various ups and downs across decades. Bottom line, immigration has confounded administration after administration from both parties. But it's President Biden that's now facing the highest totals. The reasons are complicated. His critics say it's because of lenient border policies, but there's also growing political crises in Venezuela, Cuba, and Haiti. Pent-up demand after migration slowed during COVID, a string of hurricanes that have devastated Central America, and potentially inflated numbers because of what's known as Title 42, a policy during the pandemic that expelled migrants and prompted some to try and cross the border multiple times. Also, more aggressive human smugglers who exploit desperate asylum seekers.
These are asylum seekers that are coming to our border, and they're turning themselves in. So it's a huge misconception. These are not individuals evading, trying to hide, sneak into this country.
We rode along with Fernando Quiroz, an aid volunteer in Yuma, who pushes back against anti-immigrant rhetoric.
None of these individuals are overrunning this city.
How hard was the journey here?
No, it was hard.
We met this man from Cuba minutes after he crossed the border.
You know, there's no way to leave over there. You can't breathe.
This woman made the grueling trek with her young daughter.
It's beautiful coming to a free country.
Whether you call it a political or humanitarian crisis, caught in the middle are human beings.
And Gabe joins me now live from that migrant shelter in New York. Gabe, good morning. Just this month, the Biden administration announced a new policy it hopes might deter Venezuelan migrants, in particular from crossing the border. How big an impact could that have?
Hi, Willie. Good morning. Well, the Department of Homeland Security now says that it will expel Venezuelan asylum seekers if they don't cross through a legal port of entry. That's because there have been so many Venezuelans that have crossed over the last few months. Now, city officials in El Paso now tell NBC News that they will stop busing migrants here to New York and Chicago because of the new policy. And, Willie, while there remains to be seen what the longer term effects of this policy will be, Customs and Border Protection now say that over the last few days since the policy went into effect, there have been fewer Venezuelans coming into the U.S. And now the question will be what will happen next. Immigrant advocates do say that they are criticizing this move because these migrants are now being sent, they say, back to dangerous conditions in Mexico. Willie?
A great look, Gabe, at a very complex crisis at the border. Gabe Gutierrez, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.